As you all know, I love the Super Mario games and played almost all of them, but out there in the wide world are a lot of claims and myths about these games that could either be true or false. For example, can Wario eat Pokeballs in Smash? Are there hidden coins underneath the bridge in Super Mario 64? Will the penguin in Super Mario 64 become bigger after beating the game? And is there really a DS version of Super Mario Galaxy? Well, let's find out. One of the best parts about Super Mario 64 has to be the slides. All of these stars are loads of fun and are very replayable as well. Now the most famous one out of all has to be the race with the big penguin in Cool Cool Mountain. But apparently he changes once you have beaten the game, because Jack claimed in the comments that if he challenged the big penguin after collecting all 120 stars, he will be fat and out of shape. But the race itself will be more difficult compared to the first one. However, is this real, or is Jack just lying? Well, luckily enough, I had a 120 star save file lying around, so I booted it up and went to our big friend to see if he had changed. And the answer is yes. As soon as I saw him, I noticed that he was much wider. So clearly he gained a few pounds. Now when I talked to him, he even mentioned that he had gotten quite fat and out of shape, but he was still in for a race if Mario was up for it. So I agreed, and as you can see, he is much faster. So yeah, the claim is 100% real, and I never knew about this, because most of us never really raced him again after 100% beating the game. But I love that Nintendo added this. Now the moveset in Super Mario 64 is vast. Really, you aren't limited at all, which can't be said for some other titles in the franchise. However, usually when I try to reach a certain area, I will use moves like jumps, double jumps, backwards somersaults, long jumps, and more. But apparently there's one move that I never really used, but it's very handy. Well, according to AKW91 at least. He said that if you crawl, you can go up much steeper slopes before sliding back down compared to walking or running. Now this is something I had never experimented with. I mean, usually I would find another way, but this time I was going to use crawling to scale certain obstacles. However, each time I tried this in Bob-omb Battlefield, it was very ineffective. Really, I was getting nowhere. And each time, walking or running was a much better choice. So to be honest, I don't get it. As far as I can see, crawling is not one of Mario's best moves. One thing I love about Super Mario Bros. Wonder is all the new elements that Nintendo introduced. After years of new Super Mario Bros. Titles, which all felt the same after some time, they finally started experimenting again. And the best part has to be the badges, because many of these give you completely new powers that are very useful in almost every situation. However, Jessica wondered if you can also use the Dolphin Dash when you're underground using the drill mushroom. Now I think this was a good question, because in older videos, we have seen that this badge works in water and even when swimming through lava. So what happens when you're underground? Well, after booting up the game and trying it, I quickly found out that nothing happens. You can't use this badge underground at all. Each time Mario would just pop up out of the ground, but that was it. So yeah, sorry Jessica, but this badge only works when you're actually swimming through something. Digging doesn't count. Throughout the years, Nintendo has struggled with one thing: piracy. Especially the last couple of years have been really bad, with some of the biggest titles like Tears of the Kingdom leaking before release. And a lot of people love to download these games and play them on emulators without paying for the actual product. This is even something Nintendo struggled with in the past. That's why, for example, the GameCube discs are so small. It makes piracy harder. But when you look online, you will also find a lot of anti-piracy measures in older Nintendo titles. Certain cutscenes or screens that would pop up if a stolen copy was detected. However, was this ever seen in Super Mario titles? There are loads of anti-piracy screens from Super Mario 64 and Mario Party DS on the internet after all. Well, after doing some research, I found out that all of these are false. Sure, Nintendo did include anti-piracy measures in some older titles, like Ocarina of Time, but not any of the Super Mario games as far as I could find. Even though I've gone through almost every inch of Super Mario 64, there are still things I have missed over the years. And according to Cynthia, I walked past a hidden little detail for years, because she said that there are 2 coins underneath the bridge you cross before entering the castle. So I decided to check it out, because I had never seen these. Now when looking from the side, I couldn't see anything. But I didn't give up. I decided to look underneath the bridge, and there they were, 2 coins. So I grabbed them. Using a wall jump, I was able to reach them. And as soon as I got both of them, a 1-up even spawned as an extra. So yeah, clearly this claim is true, and grabbing these is also certainly worth it. In one of the previous videos, we looked at some old map designs that Nintendo made, and little Easter eggs that are hidden inside of them. But after covering those, Midnight Wonko said that there are more details like these in Super Mario Bros. 3. The island in World 4 looks like a giant turtle, and in World 3 there's an island that looks like a mushroom. So I decided to look into it all to see if this was true. And as you can see, there is a giant turtle in World 4 right here. However, when I looked at World 3, I didn't really see a mushroom. Sure, this small island left of the castle could be it, but I'm not sure. So in my opinion, only one of them is real. But of course, it also depends on how you interpret these maps. Now, after showing off an Easter egg in Super Mario Galaxy's Toy Time Galaxy, girl gamer Anna mentioned in the comments that I missed something. Apparently, there's a hidden life mushroom around the corner on one of the main planets that you land on. All you need to do is walk on some flat pipes that look like air vents to get to the side of the planet, and there you will find the mushroom. So I did just that to see if there was anything back there. Now, as you can see, it can be found here. So Anna was right. Nintendo did hide a life mushroom right here. At times I'm asked to test myths that are very hard to pull off, and usually I don't succeed because I'm just not that good at the game. And Jay Dia Devil asked me what happens if you jump into a cannon right as you die and then shoot yourself at a tree. Will Mario hold on to it like normal, or does he die immediately? Well, I decided to figure out what happens. But there was one problem. I kept failing because it's pretty hard to fall into a cannon right as you die, as you can clearly see. I failed again and again, and at some point I even wanted to give up because I spent more than an hour trying to do this. And in the end I decided to stop, especially when I was so close, but I just missed the tree. So I have no idea if Mario will grab the tree in this state. I would assume not. However, if any of you want to give this a shot, then be sure to send the footage to me on either Twitter or Instagram, and I will feature it in a video, because I am so fed up that I won't be trying this again anytime soon. I am sorry to disappoint. I really did my best. Now, we all know about Koopa the Quick, the fastest Koopa alive that loves to race Mario whenever he can. But in the last video, we saw that he's also a man of honor. If Mario uses a cannon to get ahead, he will accuse you of cheating. However, multiple people in the comments, including TikTok Priest, claimed that you can use the teleporter found on the mountain to skip a section of the race, and Koopa the Quick won't care about it at all. Now, this sounded like the ultimate loophole, so I tried it. Now, as you can see, he doesn't care at all, and I was able to skip a huge portion of the mountain climb. So while the cannon is a no-go, teleporting up is no problem at all, which is pretty handy and certainly makes the whole race child's play. Now, sometimes the myths we cover are borderline ancient and originate from the school playground, and usually these claims are kind of vague as well as rather bold, with this next one being a good example, because Mario Toy Company said in the comments that he remembered hearing that in Super Mario Bros. 3, if you go out of bounds in World 1, you can play the original 1981 Mario Bros. In the Super Mario Bros. 3 art style. Now, I assume they are talking about the original, but can you really go out of bounds and reach this other game? Well, as far as I know, you can't do it this way. Sure, you can go out of bounds, but you won't reach a completely new game. But Nintendo included Mario Bros. As a bonus in a number of releases, including Super Mario Bros. 3 and the Game Boy Advance's Super Mario Advance series. So in a way, this commenter is right, but not completely. So I guess I would label this claim as plausible. Now this next claim was actually quite simple to test, but still it was a good question to ask, because YouTube Chill asked me, can you ground pound a wigler during a race in Super Mario Bros. Wonder? Well, as far as I could remember, you can't interact with Wigler at all. You just phase through him like he isn't even there. But still, I booted up the game and tried to ground pound on Wigler, hoping that it would piss him off. However, as you can see right here, nothing happens at all. He can't be touched or messed with. So this claim is false. Alright, this next claim was kind of ridiculous. As soon as I read it, I was beyond skeptical. But you know how it goes. We look into these myths anyway. Because Jelly Shy Guy Man said, did you know that if you look at Jolly Roger Bay from above, it looks like an eel? Which I hardly believed. So I went to my favorite website for looking at video game maps, NoClip, and looked at this Super Mario 64 world from above. And as you can see, it doesn't really look like an eel, unless you want to claim that the body of water together with the beach looks like an eel, but I don't really see it. So yeah, due to that, I would say that this claim is false. You might come across eels in this level, but the world itself doesn't look like one. One thing people love to do in Super Mario 64 is test the limits of the game, and over the years they have been very successful in doing this. I mean, just look at the speedruns out there that show off what's possible in this game. But I heard of a new trick that I hadn't seen before, because Majestic Espion had heard that you can technically jump up the lava waterfall seen in the game. Now this is something I had never seen or heard of, so I decided to do some research, and in no time I figured out what Espion was talking about. As you can see in this video, you can work your way up this lava waterfall by using a trick known as damage boosting. Here the momentum of the damage will push you higher and higher until you finally die, which is a trick that you can even see in different Super Mario 64 speedrun categories. But it's cool to see that it also works well here. So yeah, this claim is true. Now for this next claim, we will look at something very different, because we won't be looking at a myth or claim in a Super Mario game. Instead, we will look at Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the one game I played the most on the Nintendo Wii. And we are looking at this title due to Waluigi Robotnik, who claimed that in Super Smash Bros. Wario can't eat the Pokeballs. Now normally, this strange brother of Mario can eat basically anything in his way. But can a Pokeball really best this creature of a man? Well, I booted up the game and tried to eat one of these using Wario, and as you can see, I was unable to touch them. No matter how often I bit at it, nothing happened. And so clearly there is something that Wario can't eat: a Pokeball. Sometimes wild claims pop up on the internet, and one that is quite famous is the DS version of Super Mario Galaxy. A trailer for it was uploaded to YouTube on December 9th, 2007, and the video opens with the Wii logo morphing into a Christmas scene. It claims that in Super Mario Galaxy, the player can feed all 121 power stars to a special Hungry Luma to unlock a new galaxy. Players could then find golden Nintendo DS objects that Mario and Luigi would enter, unlocking a Nintendo DS version of the game. Now, Super Mario Galaxy DS would supposedly adapt the controls by tying the star cursor to the stylus and allowing the player character to jump by tapping the touchscreen, and the star spin would be performed by drawing circles. Aside from that, the video also heavily implies the addition of simultaneous multiplayer, with players controlling Mario and Luigi at the same time. And you could even receive 10 Wii points for every star collected in this version of the game, which was kind of crazy as well. But is any of this real, or was it just another lie? Well, it turns out that it was all false. A famous hoax maker known as Pablo Belmonte made it for a school project. However, it does look like Pablo inspired people online, because a homebrew Super Mario Galaxy port for the Nintendo DS was made by fans, and it's even playable. So in a way, this claim is kind of true, but clearly Nintendo never really worked on a real DS port of the beloved Wii title. Now those were all the myths we had, but don't worry, there are more videos like these on the channel that you can check out right now. Aside from that, if you have any suggestions, be sure to leave them in the comments and you might be featured in a video, especially if you're a member like Julian Lanning, because then you're at the top of my list. And don't forget, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss any future videos.